Hey guys, Larissa with BeCozi.net is here. It's not even Thanksgiving, but we're already thinking about Christmas. So today I would like to show you how to make this Christmas blanket. And this blanket is made with super chunky vegan yarn. It's as thick and soft and fluffy as Merino wool. But it's not Merino wool. It's vegan. It's 100% acrylic. It's super soft. It's really beautiful, and the blanket will be very nice and fluffy. And we guys will be using simple stitches, knitting and purling like that. I just want to show you this huge blanket. The blanket will be 40 by 60. So this is the pattern. I will also show you guys how to put some yarn around this blanket like that, a different color. And I also will show you how to make the simple tassels. This blanket has tassels on sides like that. And just one big, beautiful, gorgeous Christmas blanket. This blanket will be for sale because it's a sample. It will be in our clearance section. So if you want to buy a ready blanket, it's there, BeCozi.net clearance section. And if you want to make it, let's get started. Okay guys, let's get started. So this is our red yarn. We will start with the red one. This is the tail. This is working yarn. Working yarn goes on the top of the tail to make a loop like that. Then you insert your hand inside, grab working yarn and pull it through. Now hold these two tail and working yarn together and hold stitch with your other hand and pull it up. So this is your first stitch, and we will make it a little bit smaller by pulling yarn down. Working yarn, you can make it bigger or smaller this way. So we will keep it about 3.5–4 inches because this vegan yarn is pretty thick, if you can see. Let's make the second stitch. Insert your hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. This is second stitch. The same way we will be making next stitch. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out, and this way we will need to make 16 stitches. We have 16 stitches chain ready. Now we will flip this chain over and we will start pulling out our first row. So when you flip over the chain, you're skipping the first stitch and you start knitting these knots in the middle. Not this side, not this side, not top or bottom of the stitch, the middle stitch part of the stitch or a knot. So you're inserting your fingers or hand underneath this knot, grabbing working yarn and pull it out. The same with the next, and all 16 stitches this way. This is our first row, and the reason why we pulled those knots in the middle, because now we have this beautiful chain on the bottom. Otherwise you will not have the chain, you will have not really beautiful ending. So now we will be knitting our first row. So working yarn on the back, insert your left hand inside the stitch, grab working yarn and pull it out. So our pattern will be 3 knitted stitches. So insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out 3 times. Now we will make 3 purled ones. So the working yarn up front, not on the back, and you're holding the stitch with your left hand, and you're basically pushing through the stitch like that. Working yarn up front, hold the stitch and push yarn through to make the purled stitch, and this way we're making 3. So this is the difference. This is 3 knitted, this is 3 purled. Now we're making 4 knitted stitches. That will be our pattern. When you're done with your 4, now you're making 3 purled one. Working yarn up front, hold stitch and push yarn through to make a stitch. Here's 3 purled ones, and again 3 knitted. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it through. So here's our 3 knitted. Now we will be just following this pattern. We will be knitting knitted stitches and purled ones. So insert in our right hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. Insert your hand inside the stitch, grab working yarn and pull it out. So you can see we knitted 3 stitches on the top of 3 knitted. Now we have 3 purled ones. You see those knots? Now we're doing the same. Purl stitch, grab the stitch and push the working yarn through the stitch, and do the same way for 3 stitches to make 3 purled ones over 3 purled ones. Now we have 4 knitted ones. We're making 4 knitted ones. So this way, guys, we will be using red yarn for 10 rows. When we're done with the 10 rows and you're just following the simple pattern, 3 purled, 3 knitted, in the middle 4 knitted, and then again 3 purled and 3 knitted. So we have 1, 2, 3 rows, and altogether we need 10. When I need a 10, I will come back and show you what to do next. Okay guys, so we're done with our 10 rows, and now we will connect white vegan yarn. To connect the white and red, first of all, pull red one gently and it will break like that, and now we'll have 2 ends and we will connect them. I will be using our felting mat and needle. So first of all, I would like to show you how it's possible to connect without felted mat and needle. So you're placing one yarn and other one on the top, and then you roll it together and then rub them together like that. This is not the strongest way to connect it, so I'm usually using felting mat and needle. You can buy those on our website, BeCozi.net, in the accessories section. So again, you're putting it on the top, one on the top of another, and then you're felting those 2 together like that. This way yarn connected nicely, and the felting needle and mat works on merino wool and vegan yarn. So now when you connected one side, turn it on another side and poke on another side like that, connecting yarn nicely. Now we will need white on the top, so you will roll white over the red, covering it basically like that, and then poke again, and make sure to keep your fingers as far from the needle as possible, otherwise you will hurt yourself because these needles are very, very sharp. So this is how it will look like. It's all connected, and it's connected very nicely. You cannot disconnect it. So now we will keep knitting the same pattern, only we will be using our white vegan yarn. So inside the first stitch, grab working yarn and pull it out, and will be the first row of our white part. And on the white part we will be making 7 rows, guys. It will be a little bit smaller, but this way we will have more red. So this is a Christmas blanket, and we need red and white, but a little bit more red than white. So basically just following your pattern, 4 knitted in the middle and 3 knitted on sides and 3 purled in the middle. Only now we will be doing it with white vegan yarn. White vegan yarn is very nice and soft. This one is pretty thick, and it depends on the stock. Some of our vegan yarn is a little bit thinner. These 2 skeins of white and red are pretty thick, as you can see, and it's very similar to merino wool, and it has some shading, but not as much. So guys, keep doing this way, follow your pattern and use white color and make 7 rows. Then when you are done with 7 rows, I will come back and show you what to do next. Okay guys, so we're done with our 7 rows, and now we will again connect red one back, and again break white as we did with the red one before by pulling it like that. And now you have red and white that need to be connected together. I will be using the felting mat again. So now it's connected, and now we will keep knitting the same pattern as before. We're still following that pattern. So you insert in hand, grab working yarn, pull yarn out, and keep your knitting loose if you want to use less yarn, because the tighter the knitting, the more yarn you will use. So anyway, now we will be knitting the same pattern for 10 more rows again. There were 10 rows of red at the beginning. Now there will be 10 rows again, and then I will come back and show you what to do next. Okay guys, so we're done with our 10 rows, and now I will show you how to cast off. To cast off, you're taking 2 first stitches on one hand, grabbing working yarn and pull it through 2 stitches. Keep this stitch on your left hand and add the stitch and pull working yarn through. So this is casting off. The same way if you will be casting off from the right side. You can do it from left to the right or opposite. It doesn't matter. The same technique. You're taking 2 stitches on one hand and then pushing working yarn through, and this is your stitch, and you keep doing it with all the stitches until you cast off all of them. Last stitch. So now pull the yarn, break it, and insert the tail inside the stitch from outside in, and then pull gently, and this is the end. Now we will weave in this tail. I usually hide it or weave it in underneath this chain that we've just cast off, and then you can just either hide it between stitches, weave it in, or I am actually using the felting mat again to felt this end on the back of a stitch on the back like that. So felt it together, and this way it will be connected nicely and it will not be falling out when you're using the blanket. You will not see that felted part. See, it's all hidden there. So our blanket is ready, and now I will show you how to decorate this blanket a little bit to make it even prettier. I was asked how to add other color yarn on the edges of the blanket, so I will show you how I am doing it. So I will be adding white on the top of the red. So for this reason, I'm making a loop like that and insert it on the end like this. Now I will insert my hand underneath, not the next stitch but the following one, and grab working yarn and pull it out. So now I have 2 stitches, and now it will be a similar process as casting off, taking 2 stitches together and knitting them. So now you have 1 stitch, skip 1 stitch in this chain, go underneath the second one, grab working yarn and pull it out. You have 1 stitch and you have 1 that left here. Take them together and knit them. So this way we have this beautiful decoration on the top. So again, the stitch is staying here, you insert in your hand, grabbing working yarn. Now you have 2 stitches and you knit them together. On the side, when you're turning the blanket, you will be doing the same technique, guys. So skipping 1 stitch and going inside the next one, grab working yarn, pull it out, and then knit these 2 guys together. Skipping 1, going in another, and knitting them together like that. Make sure to give enough yarn on the side that it would be rounding nicely like that. So now I will go around the whole blanket, and then I will come back and show you what I'm doing with the last stitch. So I went around all blanket, guys. So now we are at the part where we started, and we basically will just need to make another stitch connecting these 2 guys. And now, not to leave this disconnecting part, make another loop covering the red and knit these 2 guys together. So this way we connected the white yarn knitting around the this blanket, and now pull the white yarn and break it, and now we have two tails, and these two tails can be knitted in a knot. And then I will be making this yarn shorter, and then I will use my felting mat again to hide these two pieces. First of all, put these two pieces through the last stitch, and now when you connect it like that, now weave it in, and it will go on the back of the stitch, and I will use felting mat to hide it on the back of one of the stitches. Like that. So it's hidden nicely. So this is the end of the blanket. It's done. The one more thing that some people like to do, and I want to show you, if you want to add some more really chic piece of decoration to this blanket. Cut the yarn pretty straight like that, and then make a loop like that. It will be probably about 20 inches long, so just a simple piece of vegan yarn, and then find the stitch on the very end of the blanket, pull it through, and then make a simple knot. This is, guys, the simplest tassel you can make. There is a pattern on our website showing how to make a real tassel, like a advanced one, but this one is a very simple tassel. Then you can kind of connect it together and make it straight on the end by cutting with sharp scissors like that, and this will be your nice tassel. So it will look really cute on the finished blanket, and I will attach 4 tassels like that on each corner. So you can purchase this yarn at BeCozi.net. We have red, we have white, we have ivory, we have 12 colors of beautiful super chunky vegan yarn, and it's really nice and soft, almost the same as merino wool. And follow us on our social media and subscribe to our channel. Stay warm and be cozy.